George Washington, commander of the Continental Army, hero of the Revolution, captured. He stood in the streets of Philadelphia in iron chains, head held high, refusing to bow, refusing to break. The British officer read the charges slowly and deliberately in front of the watching crowd. Treason against the crown. The punishment was death. The dream of an independent America died with him that day, and the world that followed was a very different place. It is 1783. The war is over, but America never won. The rebellion has been crushed. George Washington has been captured and hanged for treason in the streets of Philadelphia. The 13 colonies are once again property of the British Crown, and everything you know about the modern world never happens. Most people assume America's victory was inevitable. It was not. The Continental Army was massively outgunned and outmanned by the most powerful military force on Earth, the British Empire. George Washington lost more battles than he won. His army was starving, freezing, and deserting in massive numbers. The war was hanging by a thread, so what if that thread finally snapped? At Valley Forge in the winter of 1777 to 1778, over 2,500 American soldiers died not from battle but from cold and disease. Men with no shoes wrapped their feet in bloody rags just to survive another night. They were not soldiers anymore. They were shadows of men held together by nothing but desperation and a dream that was slowly dying in the snow. The 13 colonies were placed under direct and strict British military rule. New taxes, even harsher than the ones that sparked the rebellion, were imposed immediately. Colonial assemblies were dissolved overnight. Freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, all gone. Britain raised their flag over every building in every city and every town across the colonies, and made absolutely certain that no rebellion could ever rise again on American soil. Without an independent United States of America, the entire map of the modern world looks completely different. The Louisiana Purchase never happens. The Lewis and Clark expedition never happens. Manifest Destiny never happens. Instead of one unified nation stretching from coast to coast, North America becomes a patchwork of competing European colonial territories. Britain controls the East, Spain controls the South and West, France controls large portions of the interior, and Native American tribes maintain far more of their land and power because there is no aggressive westward expansion driving them out. The idea of democracy as we know it takes a massive blow. The American Revolution was not just a war, it was an idea. The idea that ordinary people had the right to govern themselves, that governments derived their power from the consent of the governed, without America proving that idea could work in practice. The French Revolution of 1789 may never happen. Democracy as a global movement is set back by potentially hundreds of years. The world walks a darker road. Without the United States, there is no Abraham Lincoln, no Civil War. Slavery in North America potentially continues well into the late 1800s or even longer under British colonial rule. Millions of lives that found freedom through the American system of government remain trapped in bondage for generations longer than they should have. The road to abolition still comes eventually, but the suffering along the way is immeasurably greater. The Industrial Revolution still happens in Britain, but without America as a massive trading partner and rival industrial power, the pace and spread of industrialization changes dramatically. Technologies that Americans pioneered, the telephone, the light bulb, the airplane, either emerge much later or emerge from completely different countries. The entire timeline of human technological progress shifts by decades, perhaps by centuries. World War I begins in 1914, just as it did in our timeline. But there is no United States to enter the war in 1917 and tip the balance toward the Allies. Without American troops and resources flowing into Europe, the war drags on indefinitely. Both sides bleed each other completely dry. Europe is left utterly devastated with no clear winner. The economic and political chaos that follows is even worse than what actually happened. The 20th century becomes the darkest chapter in human history. And what about today? In this alternate world, there is no Hollywood, no Silicon Valley, no NASA, no internet as we know it, because the internet was built on American military and academic research. No iPhone, no Google, no Facebook. The entire digital revolution that has connected and transformed every life on Earth either never happens or happens generations later from a completely different place. The British Empire never fully collapses, maintaining dominance well into the 21st century as the undisputed superpower of the world. The American Revolution succeeded by the narrowest of margins, a combination of French military support, brilliant tactical retreats by Washington, brutal winters that slowed British advances, and a British government increasingly tired of an expensive overseas war, all combined at exactly the right moment. Change any one of those factors, and the outcome changes completely. The Declaration of Independence was not just a document, it was a bet on an idea that changed everything. And it very nearly never happened. The world you live in today, the freedoms you take for granted, the technology in your pocket, the ability to watch this very video exists, in large part because a group of ordinary farmers, lawyers, and dreamers decided to stand up against the most powerful empire on Earth in 1776. And somehow, against every odd, they won. The next time you see an American flag, remember how close it came to never existing at all. If you want to explore another moment where history nearly went a completely different direction, the next video is already waiting for you.